Hello there and welcome. Okay, it's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee, and today we're going to make a cushion out of what I call Jammie Dodgers. Now, I did buy some, and I've managed to save some from the family. I know, not many. And yeah, so we're going to use that as a design. Well, we are sort of. Okay. Whenever we do anything like this, there's always a sort of memory of how it should look. So we've got our biscuit and then we've got our jam circle in the middle. Now I kind of remember a white layer of cream and then a very thin layer of jam. So that's the design I'm going to do, but the one I've got there has got just cream and it's in sort of circles. And I suppose they've made it look nice for Christmas or something. But yeah, so Jammie Dodger pillow. That's fine. What we're going to need is 2 circles of our biscuit coloured cloth. And we are going to use jelly roll strips, so 2.5-inch strips to represent the curb of the biscuit. So that's going to curb in. And then I've got a white stripe that's also jelly roll. And I'm going to place it in just like piping. There's going to be like a flash of red. So that's how we're going to build the cushion up. I've already cut out quite a few bits. I have cut out my jelly roll strips, of course, and I've cut out the red circle for the centre in felt. Now I'm just lining this up by eye, and in fact I might actually shrink that circle. It might be just a bit too big. But the next thing to consider is, I hope you can see this, it's sort of like a curb round, and that's the pattern that we're going to use. And I'm going to do that in fleece, mainly because I haven't got that much white felt, and I always prefer to make do and just get on with it, because every time I go to the shop I will buy a different, oh that's perfect, a different type of fabric. Okay, what I'm now doing is I have found something that is circle that I can put there, and I need to decide how many I'm going to put round. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 4 is 16, and they're overlapping at least that much, and it doesn't matter completely because I'll be sewing over each of these circles. So all I need to do now is cut 16 of this shape, and then I'm going to sew the circle on last so that I can cover up all my tatty ends. And of course I'm not going to sew my fleece white cream circles all the way to edge because I'm going to give myself a hem allowance. Okay, so that's the cutting out done. I'm going to start with the pattern on just the top. I'm not going to do the pattern on the bottom, and then we can construct it. Okay? Hello there. So we're a couple of steps ahead now. I've done all my obliquing. I'm sure that's what it's called, and I've done my circle on the top. I have a darning needle and a bit of wool. Now I'm using wool because I really want it to stand out, but you could use like sparkly embroidery thread, or you could use just one bead and normal thread. But yeah, whatever you've got. And I'm literally just putting a couple of dots on there just to represent the sugar sprinkles that go on it. And it looked a bit boring. Okay, now as I said before, we've got the circles, which is easy enough. Spread my fingers out, and then it lips under, and then we've got the white cream, a ring of jam, which we're just doing with a strip, and then the biscuit goes back out. So the easiest way to do the bit that goes in would be to cut out another 2 circles and then just hollow out the middle. But that's a real waste of fabric. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it with strips. And we're going to tighten, we're going to put a gather on the centre. So you won't see it, but it will just pull in the circle so that it's a bit more level. And that's what I'm doing here. I've got my sewing machine still set on zigzag, although a bigger zigzag this time and a much larger stitch. And I've straddled the stitches over the top of a piece of string. So, and then I can just gather them up. I can slide that along. So, but when I'm ready. Not ready yet. Not ready. Now the next step is we need to do the cream. So, I'm going to take my strip of white shiny fabric and I'm going to sew this onto this piece of fabric, but I'm going to sew it so that it's over this side of the zigzags, which makes perfect sense to me because I can tighten my zigzags up and then I can prepare to sew. Now I'm going to do this with both of my strips of the biscuit coloured fabric, and one of the strips I'm going to sew in just a little flash there of the jam, so just a strip of felt just to represent the jam, and on the one without the jam I'm going to leave a hole to turn it inside out. So luckily I can see the strip, I can feel the strip as well. Yeah, sort of standard size stitch, and then literally a straight line sew. Now I know it's entirely up to you how you want to do this and how detailed you want to do it, because you could just get away with putting a white tube around there, but you know, I'm kind of liking the idea of doing it properly. So yeah, I'm going to continue along sewing this line, including the red, and then I'm going to take my other bit, which is still attached, and then I'm going to sew on like that, so that what I'm left with is now a wider strip. Okay, I will be back. Hello there. Okay, so here we are. We have our gap for turning it inside out. Yeah, okay, I know, I really have to concentrate on that one. We have our cushion face, and we have what is now a strip of fabric ready to be gathered in. All I need to do is I need to sew this strip, so right side to right side, round the outside of this cushion. That's easy enough, isn't it? I think I can do that. Because I've been switching from one stitch to another, it's probably best if you just double check that you're on the right stitch before you start. I'm going for quite a small stitch. Now I've chosen to what have I chosen to do? Yes, I've chosen to leave the turning out inside out hole on the strip rather than on the circle, and I'm going to hand sew that in. So, and I'm going to be using red thread just so that you can see what I'm doing, because I don't want it to sort of come back as if it's just too complicated. It's because, you know, there's lots of bits of fabric lying around here. Now, because of the method of sewing on the fleece, I am kind of catching little bits of the fleece as I go round. So, and as you can see, I'm going very slowly. This is just so that I know exactly where I'm sewing. And as I've got like loads of loose ends here, I'm making sure that I'm not catching anything. So yeah, it's one of these things, I'm going to do it right and then I don't have to unpick. So when I've done this, I'm going to sew the other circle onto the bottom. Now I haven't measured this piece of cloth, I've only guesstimated it. So what I've done is I've taken the full strip of the width, and then I've sewn it together. So make sure I'm not coming off anywhere. And that's it. So when I get back to the beginning, which looks about right, then I can either trim it, or I might have to sew a little bit extra on, and I really hope that I've got enough. But it's a case of do as I say, not do as I do, because I'm very naughty. And in fact, I should rename my whole sewing channel Sewing Without a Pattern or something, because that's how I do it. Okay, just getting this thread in a bit of a knot. I think I have to give up with this colour. Oh. Okay. Now, one of the things that happens when you're sewing with zigzag is you'll be surprised at how quickly your bobbin runs out. So it's always a good idea just to check that. So there we go. Always go fast when you think you're going to run out, don't know why. And there we are coming back to the beginning. And of course, checking that I'm not tucking it in. Lovely. So, if I lift my needle up and I pull both strips together, I can then sew these strips, the end together. So what I'm doing is, first of all, I'm only lining up the red strip. I'm only lining up the white strip. And then I am only lining up the biscuit. And I would show you the biscuit just to remind you what it looked like, but it's gone, both of them. I know, and I can't blame anyone else but myself. So that's one half done. I'm going to now grab my other circle and just sew that round. So nice and easy. Always sew the straight thing to the round thing. I know we didn't on the last bit, but that's because we were concentrating. Couple of reverse stitches. Don't need to worry about the hole because I've left that in the strip, the least visible place. Okay, again, I have to be sure that I'm not picking up anything that I shouldn't be. So, okay, I'm going to pause the camera and just finish this, and then I can be right with you. Hi, so welcome back. I'm just doing this last bit now, and what I want to do is I want to make sure that it meets up at the end. So I'm kind of adjusting it. I'm holding down the bottom so that I can stretch over. Now, the other way to do it is obviously pin it all the way around, but what I tend to do is I tend to adjust it sort of 4 inches from the end, so you know, but as long as you cut it out right, it should meet up. But then saying that, you know, we do have to take care. Now, before I turn it inside out, I have to just tighten this string slightly, because I didn't want to waste the fabric, but I do need it to curve in slightly. And then it's just a matter of pulling and pushing and just sort of wiggling it around. And obviously, as long as we don't overstuff this cushion, then it should sort of ping in anyway. So, okay, I might come back and adjust it. There we go, turning it inside out now, and we can see that little flash of red. It's really not that much, that's all we needed. That's how I remember Jammie Dodgers, okay? It's more a memory that we're going for rather than the actual. So you can see there that I really do need to sort of ping it in a bit more. Okay, well my next job is tidy this up and give it a little bit of stuffing, and then I'm going to hand sew this hole. But there we are, it's pretty much finished, a Jammie Dodger. Hiya, okay, well we're getting there, you know, well we're there. What am I talking about? I think, yeah, the trick is not to overstuff, yeah. Okay. Anyway, so all I need to do now is line up this joint. You can see that I've really pooped it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to tidy that up now and tuck it in. And what I can do is refold that. And instead of just sewing up the hole, I can sew these seams straight. And it's just one of those things. If you know that there's a flaw in it, you will see the flaw. Nobody else will see the flaw. Nobody else would even think to look. Maybe if they were a seamstress themselves. So, yeah, there we go. I know. Funky cushion. Alright, so yes, just picking up the edge here and tiny stitches. And then if you do have any fluffy bits like this, then we can just push them in or come back to them. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed making this. It's nice to make something, you know, fun. And I hope you've got ideas. I know that Jammie Dodgers are probably not sold in every country. But, you know, it's got to be done. Got to be done. Anyway. Yeah. So the idea of these stitches is that we're doing it at a slant, but when I pull it tight, it basically, it's what we call the invisible stitch. So I've got some of the red thread there, and I'm just going to push that in with my needle and then carry on stitching, and away I go. And I'm sure that whoever receives this, well, I think I wasn't planning on giving it away. But I think it would work as quite a nice little present. Alrighty. So all I did there was I twisted the thread, I held it tight, and then I pulled it through. So I've got a little knot there. And yeah. Okay. Thoroughly original. I know this is one of the bits that I'm always going to see, but yeah. Jammie Dodger. Alright, thanks ever so much for watching. My name's Fiona from Weekly Sewing.